Essay number 7. What the feelings you suppress are trying to tell you. Let me start with something that might make you uncomfortable. When was the last time you felt pure, unbridled joy? Really think about it. Maybe 5 minutes at your friend's wedding? 10 minutes when you got that promotion? Now let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt anxious, depressed, or just heavy? Days? Weeks? Maybe it's been so long you can't remember when it started. Here's the thing. Those long-lasting feelings, they're not actually feelings at all. They're symptoms. And today we need to talk about why the emotions you're trying so hard to avoid might actually be the roadmap to the life you desperately want. We've been sold this idea that emotional intelligence means being the person who never loses their cool, the one who's above it all. We imagine emotional maturity as this Zen-like state where we've transcended human feeling through sheer wisdom and discipline. But that's not emotional intelligence. That's emotional suppression, wearing a self-help costume. Real emotional maturity is actually the opposite. It's knowing how to thoroughly feel everything that comes up. It's the deep understanding that the worst thing that could ever happen to you is just a feeling. Sit with that for a second. Picture your absolute worst nightmare. Lost everything? Public humiliation? Everyone you love turning their back on you? The actual bad part isn't the event itself, it's how you'd feel about it, the story you'd tell yourself, the meaning you'd make of it. At the end of the day, it's just a sensation in your body, a tightness in your chest, a pit in your stomach, a burning in your throat, a feeling that, if you actually let it move through you without resistance, would last about 90 seconds. So why does our pain last for years? Because we've been taught that feelings have lives of their own, that if we give them even a moment of our attention, they'll consume us forever. But have you noticed something strange? Joy never seems to last more than a few minutes. Excitement fades quickly. Even anger, if you really let yourself feel it, burns out fast. But depression, anxiety, that heavy gray feeling, those seem to stick around forever, don't they? That's because those aren't feelings. They're what happens when we refuse to feel. The word suffering literally comes from the Latin meaning to bear from below, or to resist, endure, put under. Suffering is resistance. It's the refusal to accept what is. That's it. It's not the emotion itself that destroys us, it's the fighting against it. So healing, real healing, is just letting yourself feel. It's going back to all those moments where you had to pack your emotions away to survive, to keep going, to not inconvenience the people around you, and finally letting yourself have the feelings you couldn't afford to have then. Think about your childhood for a moment. When you cried at the wrong time, what happened? When you got too excited, too angry, too much of anything that inconvenienced the adults around you, you learned to pack it away. You learned that certain feelings were acceptable and others weren't. That being too loving meant you'd get hurt. Too smart meant you'd get bullied. Too fearful meant you were weak. And now here you are, decades later, wondering why you feel numb all the time. But here's what numbness actually is. It's not feeling nothing. Neutral is feeling nothing. Numbness is feeling everything at once and never having learned how to process any of it. It's every unprocessed emotion from every moment you couldn't afford to feel, all compressed into this weight you carry around every single day. Your body has been trying to tell you something through these emotions, but instead of listening, you've been treating them like enemies to defeat. Your sadness is saying, I'm still attached to something being different. Your guilt is saying, I fear I've done something bad in someone's eyes. Your shame is saying, I fear I am bad in someone's eyes. Your anxiety is your resistance to uncertainty. Your desperate grip on control you're starting to realize you never had. Your exhaustion is resistance to who you really are, the person you actually want to be. Your annoyance is repressed anger. Your depression, biological factors aside, is everything trying to surface at once while you're desperately trying to shove it all back down. Every single one of these feelings is trying to tell you something crucial about your life, your values, your boundaries. But instead of listening, we try to change how we feel. That's like finding a road sign pointing the opposite direction of where you want to go and trying to physically turn the sign instead of changing your route. The feelings you suppress the most are the most important ways you guide yourself. But here's the kicker. Your reluctance to listen isn't actually your own. It's the voice of everyone who told you that you were too much or not enough. It's the fear of being different than what the people around you implied they would accept. When you choose other people's acceptance over your own truth, you accept a fate of constantly battling your own instincts just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Meanwhile, an entire lifetime of authentic experience, real connection, genuine purpose, deep joy stays forever out of reach. Because here's the brutal truth about emotions. You can't selectively numb. You don't get to turn off the pain and keep the joy. When you armor yourself against sadness, you armor yourself against happiness too. When you refuse to feel grief, you lose access to love. It's all or nothing. You either feel everything or you feel nothing. Sadness will not kill you. Depression won't either. But fighting it will. Not literally, though sometimes that too, but it will kill you in the way that matters most. It will rob you of every bit of life you do have. You'll become a ghost in your own life, going through the motions but never really living. You'll miss the intuition that would guide you to better relationships, the anger that would help you set boundaries, the sadness that would help you let go, the fear that would keep you safe, the joy that would make it all worthwhile. This isn't about becoming an emotional disaster who falls apart at every inconvenience. It's about developing the capacity to let feelings move through you without taking up permanent residence. It's about becoming someone who can feel deeply without drowning. The next time you feel something uncomfortable rising up, and you will, probably before this video even ends, try something different. Don't run. Don't reach for your phone. Don't suddenly remember that urgent email you need to send. Just sit with it. Notice where it lives in your body. Notice if it has a color, a texture, a weight. Notice it with curiosity instead of judgment. Because your feelings aren't trying to hurt you. They're trying to guide you home to yourself. And that person, the real you, under all the suppression and performance and numbness, that person has been waiting for you to listen for a very long time. You either let yourself feel everything, or you numb yourself into feeling nothing. You are either in accord with the flow of your emotions, or in resistance to their nature. The choice is yours, but choose quickly, because life is happening right now, with or without your participation, and the only thing standing between you and the life you actually want might just be your willingness to feel what you've been running from all along.